In the dungeon, we knew exactly where we were going, but in the catacombs, anything can happen. Hey everyone, I'm Kylie, here at Games Unlimited in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I'm going to talk about Clank Catacombs, and I'm going to preface this by saying I'm usually not a big fan of talking about games replacing other games, but when it comes to Clank Catacombs, I don't think I'll ever play the original Clank again. This has all of the excitement and fun, everything you know and love about the original Clank, but it just does a little something extra that takes it up a notch that's really cool. So first I'm going to talk about Clank in general, and then I'll get to some of the differences between Clank, regular Clank, and Clank Catacombs. So what Clank is, this is a dungeon delving game that is a deck builder. It's been out, I want to say Clank came out maybe 7 years ago or so. And so you're trying to take your little adventurer, go down in the dungeon, get some treasure, and get out before rousing the dragon too much, before taking too much damage, and basically dying. If you die, you can't get any points unless you are close to the exit. They have like this delineation between the upper part of the dungeon and the depths. So if you die in the upper part of the dungeon, you'll still get to tally of your points. But if you get all the way out, there's actually more bonus points there. So it's a deck building game, which means everyone's going to start off with an identical deck of cards, and these cards have some buying power on them, this influence, which lets you buy other cards, and they might have some attacks on them, which lets you kill some of the monsters that are out there, and importantly, they can have movement on there. So when you play cards, you're going to be able to move spaces on the board, getting down, finding cool treasures. In order to leave the dungeon, you have to find an artifact, and the artifacts are worth more points the deeper in the dungeon you go. So you have to make a decision. Do you just want to like grab a quick artifact, get out, and put pressure on the other players, or do you want to go deeper and get more valuable artifact? I talked about pressure on the other players. So the big thing about the game, and the reason it's called Clank, is there's a dragon in here, and you don't want to make too much noise because you'll wake up that dragon and it might attack you. So every time you make noise, you're going to put a cube of your player color onto the Clank board, which eventually goes into this bag. Every time the dragon gets angry, like when someone picks up an artifact, you're going to draw cubes from this bag. Now there's a lot of black cubes in here that don't do anything, but peppered inside of there are going to be the cubes of the other players. When you draw one, you take a point of damage. If you get all the way to the end of that track, you're out of the game. So you don't want to make too much noise. But if you leave the dungeon, you're going to be drawing cubes on your turn to try to make sure the other players don't make it out alive. So that's the basics of Clank. The original game had a static map, so you could sort of look at it, plan, what do I want to do this game? I'm going to go this way, I'm going to do that. With Clank Catacombs, the map is now created as you play. And it's very ingenious. So you're going to start with 4 of these lighter purple tiles. So these are the equivalent of the upper part of the dungeon. So whenever you get to the end and you're going to move off, you get to draw a tile, and the advantage of being the person that does it, you get to decide which way it's rotated and which room you're going to go into. Now once those top 4 light colored tiles are gone, then you're in the depths. And now these tiles, some of them will have artifacts on them. And that's one of the things that makes the game so cool. Like every game I've played has been so different. I played a game last week where the artifact tiles were all at the bottom of this deck. Like we're all just like, where's an artifact? I need an artifact. Like all of us are getting hurt. Most of us had half of our damage done before an artifact even showed up. I played a different game where I think the first I quickly ran through, got through the light colored tiles, and then grabbed one of the depths tiles. It had an artifact on it. I was right near the way to get out, so I was like, maybe I should grab that artifact and just leave, put the pressure on the other players. But I decided, nah, I'm going to be greedy, maybe see what else I can find. Ended up, a card came out that rotated some of the dungeon tiles. Suddenly my way out was cut off. And this whole dungeon, even though artifacts were there galore, ended up being such a mess that it was almost impossible to get out. Actually, 3 of the 4 of us died, so the 4th person won the game. So that's what makes Catacombs different from the original. It's what makes it so much better, so much replayable. It's actually a really good 2-player game. The original Clank was fine at 2, but again, it was kind of scripted because you just really had a couple of strategies to go for. With this one, maybe you both go in different directions and find completely different things. Or maybe one of you's doing the exploration and the other one's going right behind them trying to pick up some of the stuff that they leave behind. It's just all in all a fantastic game. If you like the idea of dungeon delvers, if you like deck builders, if you like Clank, this is the one to get. So I would highly recommend you come pick up Clank Catacombs. We're going to have this one out to demo for a couple of weeks so you can take a look at it. If you're in the Pittsburgh area, please stop by Games Unlimited. If not, we're happy to ship a copy to you. We have free shipping at $100 or more. I am Kylie at Games Unlimited. Pick up a copy of Clank, take it home, and unbox some fun.